Cafe Kubal Studios, hanging out with you where sports meets that thing called life. And always happy to be here with you on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Happy to be back here inside of our normal studio situation here. You know, it's the Cafe Kubal Studios wherever we go, and we have been OTR, Wake Up Call. I use the hashtag Wake Up Call OTR, which stands for Wake Up Call on the Road, and we have been exactly that. We brought you our Friday show on the road in New York City as I was down for New York Comic-Con, and so doing Super Powered Pop, comic book trails, as well as Wake Up Call all in one place. And then we were down in Jacksonville to cover the Jaguars-Texans game, doing my interviews and going on the prowl with the Jaguars. So on Monday, we broadcasted live from down in the northern part of Florida, in the Jacksonville, St. Augustine area. So we got to do that with you. And then yesterday we aired a special with Charles Pride that I wanted to send out to everybody. So we did that. We had the Charles Pride interview. And then from there, also aired my conversations, my Q&As with the Syracuse Orange football team in my travel back to Central New York. And now I'm here, I'm back, and happy to be here. So very grateful for all of you. Thank you for tuning in on Friday, Monday, and Tuesday as we were traveling. And thank you for being so devout and so connected to us in our travels. I always love and appreciate that. Can't thank you enough for that. So much appreciation and gratitude to all of you that have been connected with the show every single day, including as we're on the road. And once again, whenever we're on the road, we use that hashtag Wake Up Call OTR, which stands for on the road. With that being said, here inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios, got a great show set up for you. Inside of MonPawsPopcorn.com is what's poppin'. Terence Crysler-Howard is going to be joining me in just a few moments here, as we have the opportunity to speak with him about his journey to LeMoyne in this edition of Dolphin Dive. You know that every Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, it's Dolphin Time, part of our multimedia marketing partnership with the LeMoyne College Dolphins. And having this multimedia marketing partnership, this exclusive partnership, we have the opportunity to tell the stories of student athletes, coaches, administration, future Dolphins, and alumni throughout every single month, and every other Wednesday, every second and fourth Wednesday of each month, we have our Dolphin Dive features. We also have some bonus ones throughout the months, and we have obviously done a bunch of those here recently. And so we are in that second Wednesday of the month, which means we are here with Dolphin Dive. Every first and third Wednesday is AD and DT with Athletics Director Bob Beretta and myself, Dan Tortora. So today, Terence Crysler-Howard joining us for the Dolphin Dive this morning. Very much looking forward to sharing this with you, where sports meets that thing called life. And then obviously in hour number 2, as we always do on a Wednesday, we separate the show into 2 separate videos because people need their fantasy football advice. And they're going to utilize that video throughout the week. So I want to make sure that you get to that information quickly. So we will do this special with Terence Crysler-Howard and Dolphin Dive, and then we'll do a new video today. So when this video ends, don't think, oh my gosh, where's Dan in hour number 2? We're going to be on a new video on youtube.com and facebook.com, both /wakeupcalldt, where you are watching and listening this morning, and I can't thank you enough for doing that. So make sure you connect with us there. For those of you on mixlr.com /wakeupcalldt, you don't have to do anything. We'll just automatically move over with you, so you can connect with us there, so you could just stay on mixlr.com /wakeupcalldt. And that's the same for everybody that is with us as well on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage. So however you're connecting with the show, thank you so much for tuning in every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, where sports meets that thing called life. I also want to let you all know that we got a really cool thing going on here at Witty Wicks. And at Witty Wicks, I want to make sure that we make a note of this. Beekman 1802 is doing something very special at Witty Wicks, and I want to make sure that y'all know about this, so you could go out to Witty Wicks to do it starting tomorrow, all throughout the day. Tomorrow, Thursday, October 13th, through Sunday, October 16th, there is this special going on. I don't know if you could see it here. I want to make sure we get it out of the light there. So what it is it's a free gift with a purchase. You purchase any Beekman 1802 item and you'll receive a free gift from Witty Wicks. So make sure that you do that. It's up on my social media. It's on my Facebook at Wake Up Call DT. So check that out. If you go to Witty Wicks on 190 Township Boulevard, you have to go in-store. It's in-store only. Go to 190 Township Boulevard in Camillus, New York, right in front of Movie Tavern in Township 5 in Camillus. If you buy any Beekman 1802 product in-store at Witty Wicks, you will receive a free gift from Witty Wicks. So make sure you go out there and do that so you can get your gift. And thank you to Witty Wicks for doing something special for us. You know, it's always awesome to get those free gifts and those opportunities. So make sure you get out to Witty Wicks. Let them know that Wake Up Call sent you, and I appreciate you going out there. With that being said, we're going to take a quick step aside for a fast break. When we come back around, it is time to jump into the newest edition of the Dolphin Dive and swim with this Dolphin, Terence Crysler-Howard of LeMoyne Men's Soccer, who will be joining me right after this on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora from inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios, where sports meets life. Avicoli's, located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, has been your trusted neighbor for decades. Located just steps from Liverpool High School, we're happy to have the Liverpool Warriors on-site, on-location broadcast at Avicoli's through Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every single month, featuring student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year from Liverpool High School. Head out to Avicoli's today on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, open Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. We'd love to see you out there. And of course, you can call them at 315-622-5100 for takeout, delivery, and catering. That's 315-622-5100. And also find them on myavicolis.com. That's myavicollis.com. Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Campground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Campground and where your dog will be staying, in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Campground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9campground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and campground spelled with a K.com. K9campground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to Canine Campground.
PB&J's Lunchbox, the food truck that you love finding all throughout Central and Upstate New York, now has a street-side cafe. So when you're craving their traditional favorites as well as their out-of-box amazing menu items, you can now head to 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. Located just minutes from the highway, the Thruway, Destiny USA, and Onondaga Lake Parkway, PB&J's Lunchbox Street-Side Cafe is there for you Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner all throughout the day. Get breakfast for dinner, dinner for lunch, whatever you fancy, including their award-winning grilled peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Find them at 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. PB&J's Lunchbox, where we love to know what's in your lunchbox. As a patient, what do we want? To be cared for, to be listened to, and to have someone walk us through the process on our path to victory. Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics does all of those things beautifully, with Dr. Mark Petropoli leading the team on 791 West Genesee Street in Skaneateles, New York, located minutes from beautiful Skaneateles Lake. Whatever your injury may be from head to toe, preventative care, rehab, physical therapy, laser therapy, and surgery are all available at Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, where they care about us, they listen to us, and they understand that everyone's path to victory is a little bit different. Let them help you on yours by calling 315-685-7544 to make your appointment today. That's 315-685-7544. And find out more information at victorysportsmedicine.com. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal studios, hanging out with you where sports meets life. We appreciate Cafe Kubal on 3501 James Street, 324 West Water Street, 401 South Salina Street, all in Syracuse, inside of their double-decker cafe on 343 Fayette Street in Manlius, and, of course, on the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road at Sweetheart Corners in their drive-through location. I'm always happy to be here every Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time during Dolphin Time, which every single week is dedicated to our LeMoyne College Dolphins inside of the exclusive multimedia marketing partnership we have with LeMoyne College and their Dolphins. And we get to showcase Terence Crysler-Howard today. Very happy that we have the opportunity to do this. It's the first time that Terence has been on the broadcast with us, and so definitely looking forward to the opportunity of getting to share his story coming from the men's soccer team from LeMoyne College. So first and foremost, Terence, how you doing?
I'm good, Dan. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. So this is the first time you've been inside a Dolphin Dive, and I'd love to go right back to the beginning for you. When did you fall in love with the sport of soccer?
I would say I fell in love with it when I was 5 years old. I think there was, my dad was kind of into it. He was a big Manchester United fan, and then I started watching those games, and I just fell in love with it. It was always the only sport I played. I started out just playing on the playground, and then eventually I joined a club/academy team, and then I ended up staying there at that one club until I was 15, 16, and then moved on to another club, and then ultimately came to LeMoyne.
Was there ever going to be another option with a father that has such a passion for the sport? Or did he kind of push it? Did he kind of put the soccer ball in the crib type of thing, or how was that?
I mean, I'm Canadian, so there was always hockey was always an option as well. So I think he kind of tried to push both of those things, and soccer was ultimately the one that stuck. So yeah, that's how it went.
Did you try to play hockey?
Yeah, wasn't for me. Not a big fan of skating, to be honest.
Okay, fair enough. So you said your father's a Manchester United fan.
Yeah.
And so obviously Manchester United, Manchester City games going on, some big name games, and obviously a lot of people are familiar with Chelsea and whatnot. Bring me into what it's like to be in a house with your dad watching a Manchester United game.
I mean, normally it's just a lot of lecturing as we're watching the game. I mean, just like he thinks he knows best, so normally it's a lot of lecturing like that. But I mean, honestly, me and my little brother, I'd say in a way, get more rowdy than him sometimes watching the game. He's a pretty quiet guy.
Okay.
Not quiet, but just, I don't know, tame. He doesn't really let, his emotions take him over.
So he's more on the quiet side, which, I'm always interested in that, right? How fans watch the game, because some fans can't watch a game without screaming. Some fans like total silence. And I was wondering that when I was watching a baseball game and then a football game with, I call him Papa Joe. He's like another dad to me and my Uncle Joe. And he likes to watch in silence and then make a statement here and there where, I'll not be screaming, but I kind of want to like discuss the game and say different things. And I guess it's just in me as a commentator and a broadcaster, but how would you, I mean, I know you said he's more quiet and you're more, vocal about it. Do you yell? Are you more talking through the game? Do you like when it's quiet? Because some fans, whether they talk or not, can't have noise around them. So can you have noise around you when you're watching the game, and how loud are you? I guess it's a two-part question.
Yeah, I can have noise around me. I would say I started off being much more loud because I think I didn't understand the game at that level. Like I thought things were just easy and simple, and I didn't understand why players wouldn't do certain things. But as I got older and as I started playing at a higher and higher level, I realized how hard it is, and I realized how like it, especially when you're watching the Premier League, these guys are some of the best players in the world. Even players that aren't necessarily like the big star. They're all top players, and
Yeah.
what they're doing is extremely hard, and they're playing against extremely hard teams. So I sort of, as time went on, I started. I think it was more of a discussion. I sort of like quieted it down a little bit. It was more just a discussion. I wasn't as. I was just a little bit more understanding. I think as I grew up about what was happening in the game. So yeah.
And if for you, and like you said, you can have noise around you. You can have people kind of talking and whatnot. Do they have to know what they're talking about in order to be in the room with you, or can it be somebody that's trying to understand it for the first time?
Um, I think if they're speaking from a point where like they understand that they don't know that much, then yeah, I can hear it. But if they're talking as if they know everything when they clearly don't, then that maybe that'll get to me. So
Biggest rival, if the house is Manchester United, is it Man City in the English Premier League? Is it Liverpool for you? Is it Chelsea? Is it somebody else? Is there a team that you just can't stand more than any other team?
I would say Liverpool. I
Okay.
think just because that's what it was growing up, and then also just I actually kind of have a respect for Manchester City in a weird way. I just respect how they play. I find it hard to hate them in a weird way. I'm pissed when they lose, obviously, but I have a respect for Man City, whereas Liverpool I don't really have a respect for them.
And that's just like you said because you grew up within all of that.
Yeah, I'd say so. I'd say when I first started really getting into it and following Manchester United, that was their main rival.
Did it throw you off coming to LeMoyne, finding out that there's a piece of Central New York named Liverpool that has nothing to do with Liverpool, but but that you saw that name kind of 15 minutes outside of the city?
No, that didn't really bother me. I mean, there's a lot of in Ontario, there's a lot of places named after places in England too, so that didn't really bother me.
Here with Terence Crysler-Howard here from the men's soccer team, LeMoyne College, inside of this edition of Dolphin Dive and diving back into your history. So you find your way to LeMoyne. For those that don't know, bring me into your journey on why LeMoyne was just the right fit for you.
Yeah, so I played for a club in in my sort of grade 11, grade 12 year where I was going through that college recruitment called Woodbridge in a town like just outside Toronto. And yeah, I mean, our coach at the time was really pushing that US scholarship route. Most of the kids I played with ended up in the US as well. And yeah, I mean, I went to an ID camp at Syracuse University. And then after the camp, the at the time assistant who's now at U Albany reached out and we started talking, and then I came on a visit and decided it was the right fit. It wasn't really it was a pretty standard story, I guess. I really enjoyed my visit, and just knew that was the place.
What was it about the team and Coach Tom Bonus? I mean, obviously he's had longevity here at LeMoyne and had success here at LeMoyne. What was it about the team specifically, and maybe Coach Bonus himself, that made you feel that this was the right home for you?
Yeah, I think he just made me feel more wanted than I'd say other programs did. Just other programs looked at other visits I went on. They didn't make me feel as wanted, whereas I think he came right out with it and said, "Yeah, we want you." And also just say the setup of the visit was a lot was much better than my other visits, I'd say. The other visits was very much like I would only have interaction with the coaches of these other programs. Like maybe I'd go to a sports game, but I didn't really get a feel of how it would be to be on the team. Whereas on my visit, I got to stay with our old captain, Patty Strauss. Had a, stayed with him for a night, had a good time, and ultimately just decided it was, I just felt more comfortable, more at home here.
Hindsight 2020, looking back on that decision, does it still feel like you'd make that decision all over again and come to LeMoyne?
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, I had to go through that decision again last year. I mean, I'm here in my 5th year, and I could have left to go somewhere else, or I could have just stopped playing, but I decided to come back. I mean, it's easy decision. And when I go home, I have some friends that maybe went a slightly different route, bigger Division I schools. But when I talk about my experience, it's always better than their experience, to be honest. So I've had a really good time here.
You made that decision, like you said, to come back and have that extra season of eligibility with everything that happened with COVID and whatnot. You said it was an easy decision to choose LeMoyne all over again. Bring me into navigating the last couple of years, to lose an entire season, to not be able to have a normal, a year. I mean, it's not just, you couldn't go to class, you couldn't see your friends, you couldn't go to the cafeteria, you're doing classes virtually. I mean, 2020 was an ugly excuse for life, in my opinion. How did you handle all of that?
I mean, for me, it really wasn't so bad. I mean, I get along really well with the guys on my team. I mean, obviously it was frustrating not being able to play, but I mean, we were able to still spend quality time together. And
yeah,
I think it wasn't great, but I think with anything, there's positives. It gave me another year, and I think it gave me another year just to develop and work on things I couldn't have worked on if we had that season. And I think it set me up last season and this season as well to perform better. So I'd say, yeah, obviously there's aspects of it that was tough, but I think there's some positives in there.
And like you said, I mean, you're close with your team, and because you have those relationships, when you had to just kind of stay in your bubble, it was okay for you because you built those friendships. Is that something that happened right away on this team for you, that the friendships just kind of blossomed and developed beyond soccer? Did it take time? What can you say about how these deep roots connected with?
Yeah, I mean, it happened, I would say, instantly. I mean, me and my roommate freshman year just instantly became best friends, and I'd say we all became really, really close my freshman class. There were 7 of us. I mean, as time went on, there was just rotation, so it ended up being that almost all those guys from that first year ended up leaving, but I moved into one of the houses off campus, and then I became really good friends with a new set of guys. So I think it's just always been just ingrained in the culture. The first second I was here, it was just sort of like, you're on the team, you're a part of this, and you're welcome anytime.
Here with Terence Crysler-Howard from the men's soccer team at LeMoyne College in this edition of Dolphin Dive, inside of our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with LeMoyne College, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. For you, Terence, looking at this season specifically and where we are today, you have a game today. So in just a few hours at 4 p.m. Eastern time, you're here at home against Damon, and you'll have the opportunity to go up against Damon University and that game on Ted Grant Field here on October 12th at 4 p.m. And then you'll be back home for 2 more games. You'll have a game a week from today on October 19th against Adelphi inside of the NE10 conference. And then the day after my birthday, you'll be part of a doubleheader with St. Anselm College, the final game of the home side of things. And you'll have a road game against Assumption after that. So knowing that there's just a few games left at home, and knowing that senior day is coming up here very soon to honor you on October 22nd, as it's your final game regular season wise at LeMoyne, what does it mean to you with these last few games coming, and knowing that on the horizon, a very close horizon, you will be honored one final time on Ted Grant Field?
Yeah, I mean it's scary to be honest. I wish there was a lot more games. But yeah, I mean it is what it is. I mean I've known this moment's been coming. But yeah, I mean I'm excited to finish out this season. I think we've had some, bumps in the road along the way, but I think if we're able to finish out the conference play strong, I think we'll be in a good position for the playoffs. Hopefully that senior day game won't be our last home game. So
Yeah, and that's what I'm hoping for. The team is 3-3-5 right now. And, looking at this in the grand scheme of things, when we look at the fact that there's been 11 games played and only 3 of those have been losses, what do you take away from those 5 ties? And what does that do for the team? Obviously, in a point system, it's better, obviously, than having a loss. But of those 5 ties, was there something left on the field? Do you take positives away from it? What do you take away from those games that ended in a draw?
I think some of those games, the earlier games that were ties, I think were good results. I mean, we played number 4 Mercyhurst. I think getting a draw against them was good. We got one away at SNU. Good result. We tied Franklin Pierce, who were number 2 at the time, and I think we're still the only non-win on their record. So I'll take those results. But the last couple ties, I think from a performance standpoint, we left everything on the field, but I just think from a game management point of view, we weren't at our best in those situations. And I think, yeah, those the last 2 ties definitely should have been wins. But it's done now. It's in the rearview mirror, and you know, just focused on moving forward.
Being one of the veterans on this team, what's one of the biggest things that you've learned when you say, hey, in the beginning, it was good to have those draws, but these last couple shouldn't have happened. We should have done better than that. What are you taking away and learning right now that you can implement with these last few regular season games?
I think just college soccer in general, it's a low scoring game. It just comes down to the littlest things. And I think it's just an understanding that you really got to be switched on all game. I mean, you can put in a really good performance,
Yeah.
and just have 30 seconds where you're not on top of your game and get punished. And it's really a cruel game. So I would say just implementing that and just staying switched on for the rest of the games, which I'm confident in our ability to do. I mean, I think we have a really good side this year. It's just a matter of putting that all together.
Why do you think in some of these games, especially recently, it hasn't all come together? What was missing that you can go back to on film? And is there something you can pinpoint?
It's tough, it's really, I mean, it's just little lapses, but it's just I'm not sure, to be honest. I'm not sure. I think it's just a matter of, and honestly, at the end of the day, I'm not really focused on it a ton. I think it just happens. It just happens sometimes, and I think we just got to be collectively as a team just more focused, especially in the last 10, 15 minutes of the game, when these comebacks have been happening against us.
And you talked about, Terrence, how cruel of a sport this is. And I have seen it. And obviously athletics director Bob Beretta has seen it. And we've talked about it in the stands there at Ted Grant Field about how you said it. You could do everything you need to do. And for 30 seconds, if you're not on your game, there could be a header that just goes the way of the other team, doesn't go your way. There's seconds at the end of a game. There's something that'll happen in the middle of it if somebody doesn't get back at the right time. What can you say about how you have learned to mentally be tough and stay tough in a game where you could genuinely command as a team a game for almost the entire stretch, except for 10 seconds, but that 10 seconds, there's a goal?
Yeah, I think it's just staying switched on and reminding yourself to do so. I think talking is a big part of that. I think just having big personalities on the field that continue to talk, that continue to demand excellence, even in situations where, we're up by 2 goals and maybe, the game appears to be won. I think it's just staying switched on until that, the buzzer goes, because really until that buzzer goes, anything can happen. So I'd say communications probably the biggest. I mean, yeah.
You said have some of those big personalities. Who are some of those guys that you would say are the ones that get you going and are loud and vibrant at those moments where you need them to be?
I'd say Tom Henn, our captain this year. He's a pretty loud personality. I'd say Alessandro, Ate, Benny. There's a number of guys, Josh Marr, our goalkeeper. There's a number of guys though. I think a lot of the older guys on the team definitely who've been there before and suffered these losses before are definitely pretty loud. I like to think I'm loud out there too, but who knows?
And when you look at, like you said, speaking of yourself, and I wanted to know if you would put yourself in that class, how would you describe yourself as a leader?
I'm not really the type of guy that's gonna, tear someone apart or really yell at someone, but I like to think I'm the type of leader that maybe, when say a player isn't doing the greatest or stuff isn't going a player's way, I like to think I'd be the type to, talk to them a little bit more, understand where they're coming from and understand, maybe appeal to more of their softer side. I mean, I'm not really the personality to, tear someone down or really get into a guy, but hopefully pick them up and maybe understand them a little more and put them in the environment for them to perform the best.
So, is that something that you it goes with your personality off the field, that you're more of the, hey, I'm not gonna tear you down. I'm not gonna give you that tough love. I'm gonna be the one that's gonna kind of pick you up, bring you off to the side, and say, speak with you calmly and kind of talk you through it and say positive things. Is that who you are off the field? Because some people tell me, hey, listen, on the field, I'm this, and off the field, I'm polar opposite. So are you similar or different?
I'd say I'm pretty similar off the field as well. Like, I don't think you'll rarely see me unhappy or not in a positive mood or not being positive. So yeah, I'd say it's consistent, I think. Um, yeah, and yeah, I'd say it's the same.
So to the important question, the most important one that I've asked up to this point, what is the greatest thing about Toronto, Ontario, Canada? And I'm going to tell you why I'm asking you this. I am a massive Toronto Raptors fan, and I have been a Toronto Raptors fan.
Wow.
I have been a Toronto Raptors fan since 1995. Well, 94, I think, when they released the logo. David Sotomayor, to this day, my favorite player. And I still want that white jersey, but I got the purple one. So I've been to Toronto. I've done different things in Toronto. And obviously, I've been to see the Raptors play. I've been there to see the Blue Jays play as well at the Sky Dome and now at the Rogers Center. So I want to know what the best thing is about Toronto from someone who calls Toronto home.
I mean, yeah, the Raptors are definitely up there. I'd say overall the best thing about Toronto is just the all the different cultures that make up Toronto. I think it's a city full of immigrants and full of different cultures and full of different types of food. And I think you can get, I think there's a lot of really, really good food and a lot of really different types of food and a lot of people from different places that you don't normally meet.
Do you have a favorite place to go to eat?
Yeah, I do.
All right, tell me, what is it?
This is a place called Barnsteiners, just around the corner from my house in Summerhill, Toronto, just sort of midtown area. I'd say that's the best restaurant in my opinion.
What's the food? What do you get there?
It was started by a German guy. So it's German food, which doesn't, but it's like with a modern twist, and they make it taste very good.
Okay. All right. Do you have a favorite dish?
Yeah, they do a steak that's really good. I know that's not necessarily German, but that's what I normally get there. I get a steak.
Now, have you been to? I'm guessing you've been to a Raptors game, but how often do you go?
I think I've been to I would never buy tickets myself to a Raptors game, but every now and then I get tickets from friends, or I'm
Okay.
able to get tickets from my dad through work. So I've probably been to, like, I don't know, 8 or 10. I really enjoy them. They're a really good atmosphere. I enjoy them way more than Leafs games. So that's what I would recommend if you come to Toronto.
Okay. So what you're telling me is that you and I need to connect more so that when Dad gets tickets, we can go to a Raptors game.
Yeah, I mean, if that's how you interpreted that, yeah. I'll keep you in
So,
the loop on that.
what'd you say?
I'll keep you in the loop on that.
Yeah, definitely. No, I'm a big fan. I love that they call it Jurassic Park. It's a great thing. And Toronto, I mean, it's the special thing about being from Canada is that as close as it still has its own culture. And you just spoke about the fact that in Toronto, it's such a mixture of different people and languages and backgrounds and whatnot. How has that kind of seasoned you as a human being, like being around all of that? What has that done for you? And what can you say about a culture that is so mixed and, at least from my point of view, very, very nice? I always say that Toronto is what New York City would be like if it smelled good and people were nicer. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think that just raised me to be a little bit more aware of things. I mean, I just, like, growing up, all my best friends were from completely different parts of the world, and it just, I don't know, exposed me to things that I think maybe not everyone's exposed to. So yeah, I guess it makes you a little bit more cultured in a sense. But yeah, I mean, Toronto was a really good place to grow up. I mean, you like everyone's nice there, to be honest. Everyone's nice, and yeah, it's a good place.
do you speak more than one language or no?
No, I should. I took a lot of French. I had French for probably 8 years from elementary school to high school, but I none of that stuck with me. I wasn't really into that.
Okay. So you took it for almost a decade.
Yeah, I took it for a long time. I really should know more.
Is there anything you remember? Any, like, I mean, obviously there's like the simple words, but is there any phrase or anything you remember?
I can introduce myself,
Okay, go
but
ahead.
bonjour, je m'appelle Terence, and that's honestly that's about it. Seriously, it's sad. It's sad. I don't know how I passed French class. Uh,
Well, you got here, and the least you could do is introduce yourself to people
yeah,
in Canada. So that's a good thing. And I guess if you wander over to Montreal and whatnot, you'll be okay for a certain
yeah,
extent.
yeah. Maybe for 5 seconds I'll be okay, and
Yeah.
then no, I'll need to ask them if they speak English.
So before we get into something that I call rapid fire, which is the final piece of our Dolphin Dive here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios, when I spoke at the beginning of the season with Coach Bonus, him and I talked about the fact that the team had just gotten back from this time away in this retreat and an opportunity to get to know each other, get closer, to have somebody from Army West Point to help lead you, for Coach to be able to be with you and not have to lead, but to actually, be there listening to somebody else and have like a different experience with you guys. I know that, there was the going up the mountain, passing the rock. There's different things that you guys were able to do. What did you take away from it? And do you think it ultimately has helped the team be better this year than it was last year?
Definitely, yeah. That retreat definitely was beneficial to the team. I think what it did most was just time away, just forced us all to get to know each other, put us all in the same room. And then, yeah, the addition of John just really helped us facilitate things and talk about things that I think ordinarily without sort of external counsel would be difficult to talk about. And he was able to really just take our thoughts and opinions and put it down, in writing, and put it in a way in which everyone could buy in and everyone could understand it. So I would say that was extremely beneficial. And I'd say, like, the biggest thing the biggest lesson from that was really just sort of gratitude, just in understanding that, what, you could only do this for 4 years.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you're playing a sport you love with some, 20 of your best friends. It doesn't really get better than that. And I know, sometimes there's tough times and whatnot, and there's losses, and and all that, but you're doing something you love, and these really are the best years of your life, and you gotta realize that. So I say that was the biggest thing I at least took away from that.
So an attitude of gratitude, which is a good
Yeah,
thing.
attitude gratitude, which I know is a big thing in LeMoyne. So
Yeah, absolutely. So final thing before rapid fire, have to ask you this kind of coming off of that. Of the personalities that you got to know deeper on this retreat, who is the quietest teammate, the loudest teammate, and the funniest teammate?
mm, I'd say quietest teammate. I'm not sure. Everyone's pretty loud. I'd say initially at the start of your quietest teammate was Jabron, one of our freshmen, but he's coming out of his shell now, so he's pretty. I wouldn't say he's quiet anymore. And then loudest teammate definitely Bryant Perdomo, 100% Bryant Perdomo doesn't stop talking. And then funniest teammate, there's a lot of funny guys. I'd say Michael Sparks can make me laugh though. I think he's a funny guy.
Michael Sparks. Okay. All right. Funny how?
Funny how he just has some banter. Like he just I don't know. Sometimes these Scottish kids they just have I don't know. They just have some slang that just you've never heard before. That's just very funny. So
All right. Okay. Fair enough. And I like the shout out to Bryant Perdomo. I've known Bryant since he was in high school. So pretty crazy. And he's the loudest. I'm sure he'll appreciate that.
yeah,
So, so with that being said, we're going to jump in rapid fire. What this means, Terrence, is you get to put me on the hot seat. I get to do the same thing. It can have something to do with soccer or it can have nothing to do with soccer. This is where we can ask each other about anything. We have to answer it. It's 3 questions apiece, back and forth. You get to start and you can ask me anything you want. What's your first question?
my first question. Who's your favorite soccer team? What's your favorite soccer team?
Oh my goodness. I would so my background is Italy and Spain.
Okay,
And so I'm a huge fan of obviously watching the World Cup and seeing them all come together and represent the country. I probably have to say FC Barcelona, AC Milan type of thing. But in the MLS, I just picked a favorite team because when I first started watching the MLS years and years ago, I was dating somebody who got me into soccer. She played college soccer, outside mid, fantastic player. And her whole family played. So 2 brothers, 2 sisters, dad coached. Mom was the loudest, probably louder than Bryant Perdomo. And
yeah,
so I was around a whole family of this, and they taught me how to they taught me how to correctly do a header. And after like 8 tries of it smacking me in the forehead, they're like, "Oh, it doesn't hurt if you hit it right. It hurts every time." And I don't care what anybody says. So I would say that being with that family, they were Red Bull family. They were a Red Bull family, and so I wanted my own team after that, and I wanted a team that nobody could bandwagon jump. So I love the city. So from before day one, I chose Charlotte FC. So that's my MLS team.
nice, nice.
So okay, let's get into this here. What is your craziest memory on the soccer field?
I would say I would say my craziest memory still happened here my second year here where we were playing New Haven, I think, and with a minute to go we gave up a penalty. No, with 2 minutes to go we gave up a penalty. And then it was tied 1-1. And then our goalkeeper Josh saved it. And then we went up the other side of the field and then we scored. And then right before we won the game, New Haven then scored, and then we went into overtime, and then we ended up ultimately winning. But that was just such an emotional roller coaster. I couldn't. That's definitely the craziest moment on the soccer field.
I like that. This is kind of a 1B to that. Why is it that after a goal is scored by either team, is it so easy? Like we could see 45 minutes, 50 minutes, 60 minutes of nothing happening, no goals being scored. why after one is scored is it so easy there to have one come right after it, either by the team that scored or by the other team? Because I feel like over the years of watching soccer, once that dam breaks for whatever reason, I feel like that 2 minutes or 5 minutes after a goal scored is just a dangerous time.
I would say it can go either way. I think when you score a goal and you're winning, then it then creates this anxiety, like, oh, we got to protect this lead. We have something to lose now. And then on the flip side, sometimes when you score a goal and the other team feels like, oh, okay, we really got to get back in this now. We got to start committing more people forward. Then that creates opportunities for the team that just scored as well. So I think that's part of it. I think just once a goal gets scored, it just completely changes the game. Normally, it just completely opens up the game. I really don't know why. I think it's something psychological, but it's definitely there because that's a very common trend within the sport.
Yeah, it happens all the time. All right, so your next one for me.
Next one. All right, if you weren't doing Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, what would you be doing?
That's a good question. And there's a lot of stuff that I work on. And so I would say I'd be doing more stand-up. I'd be working in movies. I might
Stand-up
work.
comedy.
Yes.
You do stand-up comedy.
It's okay. So I'll tell you that it comes into the show. There's parts of the show, like every Friday is the annoying moment of the week. And so I throw things in here. I make a lot of ex-girlfriend analogies.
Okay.
When you listen, the more you listen, Terrence, you'll realize that I've dated a lot of crazy people. And I think that was God's way of giving me material. So so it's kind of everything's always been there. And if we're sitting on a couch talking, whatever, it just comes out of me. And the question was like, when are you going to get up on stage and just let people see this? So I'd probably be doing more of that.
Okay.
Not that I won't be. So not that I won't be. So, okay. My next one for you. Well, now that you know that after this season, which I hope extends into the playoffs and into the NCAAs and even farther because y'all deserve it, after everything is done playing on the field at LeMoyne, what do you want to do in the next chapter of your life?
Yeah, so I would say I sort of started the next chapter of my life this past summer at an internship I had. So I'd say the next chapter of that would either to be rehired there and start working there full time, or that would be back home in Toronto. And there's a part of me that is interested in exploring opportunities here in the US, specifically New York City, but it would be doing something in the finance field. That's what my undergrad was in. That's what I'm passionate about. So it'd be doing that. And then I think directly after the season, when I have all this free time, I'd like to start studying for my CFA and hopefully write the level 1 in February. So
why the passion for finance?
I think I'd say it's just something that always appealed to me, the idea of investing and the idea of sort of just seeing the future and growing money in a sense. That's what sort of initially got me into it. But then as I sort of got deeper into it, I found a lot of crossovers between that field and sport. And on my internship this past summer, there was a lot of competitiveness and pressure, and it was really allegorical of how I felt just on the soccer field. So that's another aspect that appealed to me about that field. So yeah.
You talked about taking your CFA level 1. For people that don't know, can you describe kind of what that is?
Yeah, I mean, it's essentially just certified financial analyst. Chartered financial. I forget what it stands for, but essentially it's if you want to go down the asset management route, that's sort of the degree that you want to have, sort of like an accountant being a CPA, and it goes a long way. So yeah, it's a lot of math and then some ethics and just knowledge-based stuff.
But I love what you said, that finance gets your juices flowing, get you all excited like soccer does. I think that's fantastic when you find something that you're passionate about. you can find one thing you're passionate about in life, it's fantastic. If you can find two, I mean, that's pretty incredible. So good for you on that.
Yeah.
Last one for me.
Ideal Saturday night.
Wow. I've never been asked that question. I honestly do. I got to shout out LeMoyne student athletes. I really do. Because Madeline Kennedy of the volleyball team, she asked me two questions I had never been asked before either. What plant would I be and what piece of furniture would I be? So those were great. And this one is too. Ideal Saturday night. Well, I'm a single man. So I could say like, calm, and I'm not really a bar scene guy. Like if I was hanging out with some friends and we went out, and kind of just relax, I'm okay with that. I do like to dance, but clubs, they're not the type of, like I'm a Rio like to dance and respect a lady type of thing. So I don't know what I would find on a Saturday night for that. But I mean, I guess an ideal Saturday night, and I would go to a comedy club. I might go to the movies, and really for me, it's hanging out with people that I love. Friends that have become family, and family that's family. So I would say there's Saturday to me could be me and the dog, and it could be me out somewhere. As long as I'm surrounded by people that are positive, just good-hearted people, then I'm good.
Nice.
I like that question, so I'm going to give it back to you, but I'm going to throw it at you a different way. Ideal Friday night.
I mean, in season, ideal Friday night, in bed by 9:30, eating a very healthy meal. But out of season, I'd say ideal Friday night with friends. I mean, I'm 21 years old, probably going out or they're doing something social. That's what it would be. I mean, I think my ideal Friday night would be the ideal Friday night of a most typical college students. So,
all right.
Yeah.
All right. Fair enough. I will ask you this as a final and kind of a bonus one. In the spirit of the season, do you dress up for Halloween? And if you do, what would be your costume this year?
I've been a police officer for the past 4 years because that's just what I bought my freshman year. So I think this year I might have to change it up. But I still do have that costume, and realistically, I will probably not buy a new one, and I'll just be a police officer again.
Okay.
I'd like to say I might be something different. I'd like to say, I don't know, maybe a pilot, maybe something like that.
Okay. I mean, I guess I can congratulate you on half a decade. If you're a cop, this will be your 5th year. So that's a good.
Yeah.
So congratulations on your half a decade. So with that being said, Terence Crysler-Howard of the men's soccer team at LeMoyne College, you can come and see your Dolphins today against Damon at Ted Grant Field. Today being October 12th at 4 p.m. Eastern time on the field. And you can also see them again on October 19th, next Wednesday at 4 p.m. against the Delphi, and that Saturday for a special doubleheader and a big event that LeMoyne's doing around both the men's and women's soccer teams, and that's against St. Anselm College. So very good stuff coming up here, and hopefully more games to be played beyond the regular season. So Terence, I appreciate your time. I'm happy to spotlight you for the Dolphin Dive, and I'm happy to talk with someone from a great city that means so much to me. So shout out to Toronto, Ontario, Canada, as they deserve it. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Dan. Really appreciate it. Had a good time.
For yourself. Woody Wicks Candles and Gift Shop, Township 5, Camillus.
Cafe Kubal offers same-day local delivery of our products, offering no delivery charge for Onondaga County. Shop cafekubal.com for fresh roasted coffee beans, cold brew, travel mugs, and all your essential Cafe Kubal needs. Cafe Kubal, coffee for the soul.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating. Find them at 201 Old 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and all the time online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond. You can order all throughout the country at maandpaspopcorn.com. And remember to get your tins, which have in-store half-price refills forever. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, available to you for fundraising and all of your events by calling 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
Woody Wicks Candles and Gift Shop, Township 5, Camillus, where you will find handcrafted all-natural soy wax candles over 60 cents to freshen up your home. We carry a wide range of locally made items, Salsa Q's, Syracuse Salt, and Chocolate Pizza Company, to name a few. Let our knowledgeable staff help choose unique gifts and keepsakes for any occasion. Gifts for family and friends, and maybe a little something for yourself. Woody Wicks Candles and Gift Shop, Township 5, Camillus.
This is a special message from Merritt Brady, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Watertown on 1290 Arsenal Street in Watertown, New York.
Chick-fil-A for me has always been about the people. I think it starts with the strength and leadership of the Cathy family. It's just amazing to see a family-run business reach the altitude that they have. Second mile service is something that we embodied at my previous business, and the ability to make people feel like they're the only person at your establishment, that you are there to serve them that day and looking for those extra ways to make them happy, to anticipate what they need next is what makes me tick. And I'm going to have so many opportunities at Chick-fil-A to do that. It's one of my favorite things to eat in the world. My favorite application question or interview question when I'm interviewing is when I get to, have you ever eaten at Chick-fil-A? And a smile hits both their ears. You know, they can't even answer the question for a second. And when I see that, it's like, man, that's going to be a great hire. They already get it. They already feel it. They already know that we're different. The Chick-fil-A experience, it's a real thing. And then, of course, just our generosity and community involvement and making a positive impact in the lives of our team members, our guests, and the community in general, I think is really the secret sauce.
Chick-fil-A Watertown on 1290 Arsenal Street in Watertown, New York. Coming to you fall 2022. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal studios where sports meets that thing called life. Happy to be here with you every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, and always excited to be inside of the Cafe Kubal studios with locations all throughout central and upstate New York. Cafe Kubal is your home for your coffees, your teas, your chais, and just to, hang out. It's a great place to go to have a meeting, to see your family, to go out with the girls or go with the guys or go on a date or get together with friends. It's or get some work done. It's literally a perfect place for so many different things, and every single Cafe Kubal has its own identity. That's what I love about it, is that they're all Cafe Kubals, 3501 James Street, 324 West Water Street, 401 South Salina Street, all in Syracuse, New York, in their double-decker cafe on 343 Fayette Street in Manlius, and in their drive-through location at the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road at Sweetheart Corners in North Syracuse. Every single one of them has the coffees you love, and the teas you love, the chais you love, the chocolate chip banana bread, and the awesome sandwiches and whatnot. But they all look different inside. They all have a different feel to them. It's like having a bunch of kids in the same family, and they all have different personalities. And that's the cool thing about it, is going to a Cafe Kubal near you, you're going to get a different experience than one that's 10 minutes down the road or on the other side of town. So you should definitely frequent and go to all the Cafe Kubals and continue to support local. I know we appreciate it very, very much. So thank you for that, and many thanks for that. So a lot of great stuff coming up. We're going to get into the Fantasy Football Power Hour and start a new video in just a second. Greg, I think it's funny you just asked me the question that you asked me, because I got asked this question yesterday. Well, and you just heard Terrence talk with me about it too. When are we going to see you doing a 10 to 15 minute of stand up at the Syracuse Funny Bone? Man, I have loved doing comedy my entire life. I love seeing people laugh and have a good time, and I love being a part of that. You know, I love being a part of helping to spread joy and spread happiness. And so, when are we going to see it? I've talked about it for a while, and you know, that push from God, that moment where I feel that, you know what I mean? Not that he hasn't given me a ton of material, but it's something that when I know it, I'll know, like, hey, it's time. And I don't mean send me another crazy ex-girlfriend, God, please don't. But I think I have enough material for the rest of my life. But yeah, I mean, have I thought about it? I have. And would I like to? I would. And so I guess stay tuned. We'll take a step aside. Speaking of stay tuned, we'll take a step aside here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. For those of you that are here on Facebook.com and YouTube.com, both /Wake Up Call DT, we'll take a step aside. To everybody on MixLR.com /Wake Up Call DT and WakeUpCallDT.com, you're going to listen straight through, but we're going to get into the Fantasy Football Power Hour. What did Greg said? If you can get Apple TV to work, LOL, and if you can carve out time in your schedule, Ted Lasso is a great watch. Feel-good comedy. English football backstory, well worth the watch. Yeah, I've heard a lot about Ted Lasso, so definitely, and I'm a big fan of the actor that plays him. So I'm not opposed by any stretch of the imagination to it. It's not like I wouldn't watch it. So maybe sometime soon. I'm trying to catch up on my Marvel now that I've been Wake Up Call OTR. We've been on the road with Comic Book Trails, which is always on the road. Super Powered Pop, Wake Up Call, and Do Diz with Dan. I literally did something for all four of the shows inside of Dan Tortora Broadcast Media within the last 5 days. So being back here in the studio and being back home, I was like, all right, you know what? I got to catch up on some things. So I watched the latest episode of She-Hulk, which at the end finally seemed good. But they made Daredevil, I don't know, I think Disney like cheesed him up a little bit. He's not as dark. And it's really starting to piss me off that they're changing these characters around and trying to like cheesy pop people up. It's just gross. So, because I'm a big fan of Charlie Cox. So I hope that the Daredevil Born Again show is more true to the character. And, you know, there's some stuff that happened on the show. I'll talk about it on Super Powered Pop. I don't want to give any spoilers. But I've been trying to watch Werewolf by Night by Marvel because it's a totally different angle that they've taken anything that they've done, movie or TV show. And this is a special presentation. So I did get to see some of it. The some of it that I saw that I liked, but I was falling asleep. So I'm going to try and finish that today so I can talk about it on Super Powered Pop. But yeah, a lot of good stuff coming up, a lot of great stuff coming up, and the Fantasy Football Power Hour coming up. So those of you on Facebook,